everybody. So today's video, I kind of just wanted to do a series of like update videos, really just 3 videos that are more like story time videos since I hadn't vlogged. I won my first design competition. You heard me mention this if you watched my I'm dropping out video. Yeah, so basically in my fashion visuals class, we had our last project of the year was project 3, and it was a group project, and it consisted of we had to design a collection. So we already had done this before in project 1, but we had to design a collection, and we had to design a full collection with 3 ensembles, everything included: fabric swatches, color swatches, flat sketches, design inspiration, you know, all those different things that go into a collection. And then one of the garments that we designed, we had to make, but we didn't just make it out of any type of fabric. We were drawn out of a hat. We all had to pick a category from the thrift store. So some people had suit pants, some people had women's dress blouses, some people had plaid shirts. We had plaid shirts. There were other ones as well. So we had plaid shirts. My group had plaid shirts, and so we had to take one of the designs that we made from our collection and make it out of plaid shirts. And so the idea, it was a sustainable design challenge, and so the idea was to transform the garment as much as possible and to create something that was and to take it and transform it into something really beautiful and cool that really coincided with your collection and theme. Okay, so I was paired with 2 merchandising majors. Emily and Haley, if you're watching this, you guys are dope. So I was paired with 2 merchandising majors, and I was the only design major. And so we got into the group, and they're like, okay, so you're a design major? Yes, because they were like, oh my gosh, so you can sew? Okay, that's great. And so we met and we went over and we designed the collection together, and we went over our whole project, and we designed the collection together, and we were under the consensus that I will sew this garment. Like, I will make the garment. I will be fully overdoing this garment if you guys do all of the board, because our collection was displayed on a board. So I'm like, if you guys do all the technical work with like gluing all of those pictures down, making sure the fabric swatches are perfect and the color chip, like all of that is extremely tedious work. So I do not want to touch the board. I will fully be over the garment. And then the other girl, she was like, I'm comfortable kind of helping with the garment, and I can definitely help with the board. So she kind of like did a little bit of both. Helped me initially in the beginning stages of the garment. Oh, anyway, so now getting into our design. So we had plaid, so we were like, let's go with the plaid, let's just go full out with it. At first we were thinking about dyeing it and going a totally different direction, but then we were like, no, we got plaid, let's stay true to the plaid. Let's go really far with the plaid. Let's not try to back up out of the plaid. Let's just marinate and really just be here with the plaid. That's what we got. It's plaid, it's ugly, but we gonna work with it. We just gonna go there. Let's go there. And so we went there. We was like, we got plaid. So our theme was like punk 70s, because I was really feeling like I was bringing to the table, and I was like, I want to do something that's like flowy and pretty and like kind of has like a flow to it. And it's so funny because all 3 of us had different like design aesthetics. Like, so we were just talking for like so long together, trying to figure out what the heck we were gonna do for this project. And because I couldn't just do what I wanted to do, or she couldn't just do it, we all had to like work together. And so that's what really made it challenging, but that's what really prepares us for the industry, because you're not always working by yourself. It's built on teamwork. And so we ended up deciding that we were gonna go with a punk 70s rock type of theme. And so mixing the idea of like dark and grungish with flow and 70s bell bottom, bell sleeves. So we designed a collection. It was like we had like bell bottoms, and then we had like bell sleeves, and we had fringe and leather and plaid. And so the dress that we designed, it was going to be a bell sleeved flowy dress, and she was going to wear like black tights and and she was going to be styled up in like real punk rockish. And so I wanted it to be like a maxi dress, but like that didn't really work with how much fabric we had, because we had to use plaid shirts and our budget was $20. Okay, we all started playing around with the idea of cutting into strips and weaving the fabric. So one of the girls, she had mentioned like working with strips, and we were like, strips, okay. And so she was talking about kind of like weaving some type of design in the back. And so we were like, okay, weaving like a design in the back or whatever. And so then I was like, what if we weave the whole fabric? And so we were like, so they thought that was like ridiculous. Well, we thought it was cool, but we thought it was crazy, stupid, ambitious. Like, why would you do that? So we decided that we were going to cut all of these garments and cut all of the plaid shirts in strips. And so initially they were like, let's do 2-inch strips because that would be bigger. And I was like, no, let's do 1-inch strips so they can look more like clean and concise. And they're like, I think that's cool, Halima, but that's really crazy. That's going to be so small and so hard to do. And I'm like, I'm here for it. Look, guys, I'm committed to this. Like, we're going all the way there. Remember, we're going there. Let's go there. And so I'm like, we're gonna cut it in strips. And so so guys, like this, oh my god, it's literally crazy how long it took to do this. So we took all of these big men's shirts and we cut them, we measured them all. Well, I'm measuring them all out and I'm cutting them in 1-inch strips. Okay, so that's what we did. Just cutting them in strips took about 3 days. It wasn't like full 3 days, of course, but just trying to fit it in after your classes and stuff like that. That's when it took. Okay, so we cut them in strips, and so our initial idea was that we were going to cut them in strips and weave them together to make our own fabric, right? And so I spent all this money on interfacing because I wanted to weave it together and, you know, to keep it in place, fuse it down on interfacing. So that's what we did. And so we were gonna do like 3 yards. We were gonna weave 3 yards of fabric out of these 1-inch strips. But so we're sitting in the studio and we're cutting these strips out. We're serging them together to make them longer, and we're like, you know, mapping this out. And so we're like, we get to a point where we're like, we don't have enough strips to make this much fabric. And so we were like, we need to figure out a way to downsize this. And so I'm like, gosh, how are we gonna do that? And I took the sketch, and then I had made my own pattern. I had made our own pattern pieces for the dress. And so we were like, well, why don't we, instead of like trying to weave the fabric, just weave each like pattern piece, like cut out the interfacing from the piece and then like weave each pattern piece and then sew it all together. But we realized even for that we didn't have enough. Like it was so crazy because it was so many strips, yet it was so not enough strips. And so by this time, it's like I felt like I was on Project Runway, because it's like, what are we gonna do? Like, we don't have enough time to get more plaid. And then the thing about this pattern, because we wanted it to be like a new pattern, and so we didn't want it to look like, we wanted it to look like we made our own pattern and fabric. So to get another plaid shirt, we had to have like decided that then, because if we couldn't wait, because we needed it to all be like this pattern strip, this plaid shirt strip, this plaid shirt strip, this plaid shirt strip, that plaid shirt, you know, like in an order. So we had to make a decision. Either we were gonna wait and get another shirt and then do it, or we were gonna do what we had, because we had to start fusing it. We had to have the order we were gonna do it in, because that was gonna be the success of having it in to look like a pattern. And so we ended up deciding, nope, we don't have time. We can't get another plaid shirt, so we have to work with however many strips we have. And so this is when it got hard, because I'm like, no, I want to weave it. I want it to be a weave. Like, no, it has to be a weave. And we just really didn't have enough strips. So we ended up, after a lot of discussion, we ended up deciding to just under her suggestion, we ended up deciding to just fuse it like one on top of each other. And this was hard for me, because I'm like, no, I want to weave it. And so like ended up deciding to do that, and something just clicked in my mind, and I'm like, you know what, this is still gonna turn out really, really, really cool. So we got it. And so we were sitting there all night. Like fusing the strips to each other. So it was just like one on top of each other, not really weaved together, just one on top of the other. But it looked so cool, because it looked like this really new print. Like it looked like we made our own print, like our own new type of plaid or something. Like it was cool. And so after we did that, and I had cut out all the pattern pieces, and I cut out the pattern pieces, and then I cut out the interfacing from the pattern pieces, and then that's what we were doing. We were fusing it all on each other, and then I ended up finishing all the fusing, and then After that, then that was when I could finally start sewing. And so I had to sew all the pieces together. So that turned out, it was really hard to do, only because I had made my own pattern and I didn't like do it out of muslin first. So there were some like fit issues. I thought it looked good, but when my model came to turn it, to try it on, a lot of things did not fit on her, and so it looked so good at first, and then a lot of things did not fit. And so I was sitting there all day trying to figure out how to fix the fit issue. So I had to make the skirt wider, I had to fix the sleeves and the bodice. So that's everything, right? It's a dress. I just had to fix everything. So I had to make everything wider, so I had to cut even more. So I had to figure out how to get more strips and more interfacing to fuse more. So like I had to because we already had the strips, but then I had to go into like our scraps that I had saved to make kind of like more strips, you know what I mean? Lord. So I did that, and so then it ended up being enough, thank you God. And so mind you, this is the whole, when I'm doing all of this, these are whole chunks, these are whole nights. Like so many all-nighters went into this, and it seems like it wouldn't take that long, but it took like, it wasn't that it was a hard thing to do, it was just very tedious. And so and the thing is, it's so crazy because I was in the sewing studio for so long, I watched so many people come in and out and finish their projects. And so it was a really humbling experience because I wasn't trying to win. I just wanted to produce a good garment. I just wanted to manifest what was in my mind. I wanted to give my all in the project. And after having dealt with what I dealt with my attachment in project 2, like I told you guys in my dropping out video, I let go. I'm like, I'm doing this for myself. I'm doing this. I'm doing this for the right reasons. I'm doing this for you know the goals and intentions and that I have in mind. I'm doing this for God. It's not about anything else. It's not about an award. It's not about that. I just want to do my absolute best. I just want to give my all to this project and really just do the best that I can do in fulfilling what the assignment was. And so so after that, I fixed the fit issues. And so I'm working all night. So by this time, even though we started so early, like my group in particular, we started very early on our project. We had timing was very good. But even with all of that, I still was pulled an all-nighter before the day of the fashion show. So all night, I'm still trying to just fuse this interfacing because I had to make everything bigger. So that added like a whole nother thing. So after I had figured all of that out, what ended up happening was like right before the fashion show, I get to this point and I'm like, this sleeve, like we had 2 bell sleeves, they weren't working. Like the interfacing, literally it just gave out on me. Like on one of the sleeves, like it just would not fuse and the things were falling apart. And then it was crazy because certain other pieces in other parts of the garment started like coming up off the interface, and I'm like, why? But I had never done this before, so this is just all experiment. And so I'm like, you know what? But then I kind of felt like it went with the grunge theme, like, because grunge is kind of like messy, like, you know, dark and just whatever. So I was like, you know what? That kind of goes with the theme. That's fine. And so then I just made the executive design decision to cut off one of the sleeve that was not fusing. I just cut it off, and it was an impulse decision, but at the same time it was thought out. And I was just like, nope, I'm cutting it off. I didn't even ask. I just cut it off. And so then I come all the way. You know, I come to the fashion show. We had to line all our models up and put it on our model. So she came dressed, her hair looked great, her face, you know, looked great, everything looked great, and and I was just kind of like freaking out. I was just kind of like going crazy because the dress wasn't turning out how I wanted it to turn out, and I hadn't got any sleep, and I was just so tired. I had other work and other classes that I should have been doing, but I was just so invested in the dress that it wasn't working out. But it was so crazy because my spirit, despite all of it, was just so high. Like I just felt so at peace, you know what I mean? Like it's hard to explain because I was kind of like it's hard to explain because I'll be dealing with stressful things, but I still have like this inner peace about myself. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's not turning out how I wanted to. But deep down, I'm like, you know what else I'm gonna do? Like, what else I'm gonna do? Like, okay, what we gonna do? And so my model, my friend Autumn, she was so amazing because she was just constantly reassuring me. She's like, girl, it looks fine, you know, this looks cool, whatever. Like she was just really positive about everything. And then my group mates, they were really great too. They were like, look, what we gonna do? You know what I mean? They was like, I think it looks cool, we did it, we've done, you know what I mean? And so they were just really positive, and so that made me feel good. And so we just put her on the runway. We went through the show, and she looked great. Like, oh my gosh, it was so incredible to do my first fashion show at in fashion school and stuff like that. So it was really cool just seeing her walk across the stage, and like, I couldn't believe I made that. Like, I watched her and I'm like, I made that garment. Like, what? And she like, the garment had like a flow to it. Like, you know, when she spinned around. And so Autumn, she told me like after the, oh, Autumn, if you're watching this, shout out to you. You're like so awesome. Like, she got my back for real. And she was saying that like people in the line, because you know, you got to think about it, like this is a lecture hall of like maybe about 200 or more students, so every group had a model for this one big fashion show, and so there were a lot of models back there. And so she was saying that a lot of people had liked the dress and they thought it was cool and stuff like that. And even after the fashion show, other people have told me that too. And so so she walked across the stage, she looked great, and so after the fashion show she told me that. And so I was done. I was like, look, you know what, I'm done. I couldn't even, I was just thanking God. I'm like, I can't even believe I'm done with visuals. I can't believe it. I'm so happy. Woo! And I was like, I went to sleep because I hadn't slept that night before. I hadn't been sleeping really before then. I was just really exhausted, so I just went straight to bed. After the fashion show, I just went straight to bed. The fashion show was like at 8:50 in the morning. So after the show, I just went to sleep. And so I wake up, which is so ironic because that's exactly how I woke up when I looked at the Project 2, the video results. And so, but I wasn't expecting, this is what's different. I wasn't expecting to like, I wasn't expecting to get an email, but I just looked at, I woke up from my nap, I woke up from sleeping, and I checked my phone for my, you know, my school email, and my professor emails us, and she's like, congratulations, you all won first place in the design competition, and one other group did too, we tied. And so she was like, and I was like, what? And she's like, you guys get extra credit points. And so I was like, what? And I'm checking it over and over again because I'm like, and I'm just like I did for Project 2. If you watch my dropping out video, I'm reading it over and over again, but now this time for different reasons. And I'm reading it and I'm like, is this a mistake? I'm like, did she send this to the wrong email? And so I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, what? I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. And so, and it's one of the greatest testimonies that just doing your best really and focusing on yourself and being positive is really the best thing to do, especially in an industry like this. Because, and it was just really humbling because I can tell that I'm getting better. I'm getting better in design. Like my mind and stuff like that, like for art and technical stuff is getting better because I was in the studio and I watched other people work on our projects and I was encouraging and I told certain people, 2 specific groups, and I was like, this is really good. I think you have a definite shot for first place. And I told another group specifically, like they can bear me witness. I said, this is great. Like this looks so cool. I think you definitely have a shot for first place. Never in my mind thought me. And do you know, not only did I get first, but then the 2 groups that I thought would have had a good chance at first because their work was really good got second. Like that literally means that I understood the project, I understood the assignment, I understood what you was going for, I understood what good work was, and because they won, like my mom, I was just overwhelmed because I was like, this is cool. Like this guy got me. Like what? And so so that was like not only like me getting first, but it was really, I was so excited for them to have gotten second because like I was rooting for them and I knew and I like, and the fact that I caught it just felt really good to catch it because I'm like, wow, like my mind is getting there. And so my eye is getting there. Yeah, so if you look at the garment itself, you're like, okay, that's not like the most beautiful design I've ever seen in the world. That's not anything, you know, I get like, it's like, it's not cute, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a cute dress, but you have to think about what the challenge was. The challenge was to transform it as much as possible. And that's what really helped me understand why we won. Because when I looked at the garments, there were good work. Even like there were some garments that were even just in generally made better than ours. There were some garments that just looked more cuter than ours. But when you think about what the assignment was, to be as creative as possible and to take something and completely transform it, by the time we got done with it, that didn't even look like it was men's plaid shirts anymore. That, like, there were people who looked at the dress and didn't even know that it was plaid shirt. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, wait, what is it? We actually did hit the nail on what the project was. Putting all that work into the dress and then working great on the board got us 100% on the entire project. So I don't know, I was just really happy. I couldn't have asked for a better group. We all worked together really well, even though we had different like aesthetics about things. We all were really committed to the idea of working hard and doing great on the project. So I was really happy with how it turned out. If you're watching this, shout out to Emily, shout out to Haley. You guys are super talented. And then shout out to Autumn. You're awesome. I'm so happy to have you as a friend. And so it's just crazy because I was so attached to project 2, which winning that wasn't winning. All I wanted was first place in my class. I didn't even want first place in the entire lecture. Like, I just wanted, like, I didn't even care. I just wanted to make it to the next round. I didn't even care about winning that next round. And so, like, my goals were like really low, and to win project 3, which was the final project, and to win it out of the entire lecture was just, it was 2 different things. And that one was just a more higher competition. It was just winning that was much more challenging than it would have been to get that. And so that's crazy, and it's really amazing, and it was really a great experience, and it really excites me for my future in the fashion school, and it excites me for my future as a fashion designer and other fashion design competitions and all that jazz. That was all I had to share. That was my experience winning my first design competition. Thank you guys so much for following me. If you haven't already, if you like this video, like it so I can know that you guys like story times like this and getting updates like this. If you have any thoughts, or you know, it made you think of anything, comment down below. I love to hear your thoughts. Tell me what you thought of this video. Tell me what you thought about the story. And definitely subscribe so you can get more, so you can know when I post more videos. Yeah. And share this video if you think that it could help somebody else, or if you think it's cool enough that somebody else would want to watch. Thank you so much. And God willing, I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.